Okay. So, what's your name? Can you S-A or okay. So you don't have blackboard? Sorry, the canvas doesn't work. Okay. Well, so when you because you don't know how the works, right? Okay. How the foundation. Okay. So I'll start explaining to you later. After the class, but basically we have the lectures and then we have days that we have activities like today. And those days that we have activities, attendance in person is mandatory. The other day you can come or you can join online or you can not come and join anything. Okay? Doesn't matter. Obviously I take attendance every day because the students that come every day it's not mandatory. We don't have it counting as yet. In some ways. You have two activities that are in English. One is grammar. You have the instructions in Canvas. Okay. And then you have another activity that is a group work. That also is and then you have both activities in your group. So there are 6 groups, and the first group already did their timeline, so I'll assign you a group for depending on the students, like the group that has this. And so today we have the lecture first, and then the activity. Okay, great. So you'll do the activity in groups, like you have to answer specific questions, okay? You have to report activating with each other. These lessons you have them in the Canvas, and if you have questions, no, only the final. It will be about the PDFs you have in the Canvas. That's all. You can know when we have activities because we have the timeline, the schedule in Canvas. So when it says activities, that's the way you have to come. It's mandatory coming. If you miss 1 or 2 activities, you can make them up in January, the first week of January. If you miss more than 2, you will have to make them up in But if you, for example, so there are 2 sections for your final grade. The activities section and the theory. So let's say you pass the exam, the theory, and then you missed 3 activities. You will have to make up the activities in groups, but I keep your grade for the theory. So you only have to do the activities. So you have to make that in January. You could join me. Okay. You have a question? Okay. Well, if you have any questions, send me a message or ask me. Thank you. So let's see. lecture, and the second part is the activity about both the lecture and the movie you had to watch. Remember, this week the group 2 has to do their timeline on this lecture. Okay, you have the whole week to do it, and then upload it in Blackboard. You have the section available in the description of the timeline to upload the timeline. So first to the attendance. Let's see, Sarah. Sarah, no? Okay. Donia?
She's coming, man.
Okay. For now. Margot? No. Anna? Please? Ernest?
Yes.
Leonie? Anissa?
Yes.
Sarah? Judah?
Yes.
Yusuf?
Yes.
Ryan? Razim? Aimi? Aaron? Jonah? Alessandro? Marie? Alexander?
Yes.
Hi, what's your name? Your last name?
Mixki.
Okay, I didn't call you. Maria? Chris? Diana? Talia? Sarah? Shaista?
She's coming.
Okay, for now she's not. Kakim?
Yes.
Victoria? Isabela? Lorenzo? Erika? Zach? Hiba? Fanny? Kenzie? Arthur? Shan Kumar? Luke? Ryan?
Yes.
Melanie? And Rela? Anyone that I didn't call? Okay. So let's start. Today we are speaking about medicine and dentistry during the Middle Ages. We'll see different cultures or regions who fall in Europe and the Middle East, we could say. So we are dividing these periods in these 5 sections, okay? So first of all, we divide the Middle Ages in the early Middle Ages and the late Middle Ages. Please be quiet. The early Middle Ages will be studying different cultures or regions. The Byzantine Empire ruled the first part of the Byzantine Empire. We will see that this empire lasted until the 15th century, but we will be focused in the first part of this culture and region. Then the Islamic world, as we have seen during the Middle Ages, above all the early Middle Ages, it was the Islamic world, the Arab cultures, the ones who preserved the scientific knowledge. Sorry, what's your last name? Victoria? Hi, what's your last name? Eh? Can you repeat? Fanny? Roger?
Yes.
Okay. So let's continue. Yeah, and then we'll see, as always, what was happening in Spain during both the early Middle Ages and the late Middle Ages. And then finally, we'll see the late Middle Ages in the West, because it was when the scientific knowledge began to be cultivated again. Okay? So, well, the whole context, or we speak about the Middle Ages as the period that goes from the end of the whole Roman Empire, or the division of the Roman Empire between the West and the Western and the Eastern Roman Empire, until the conquest of Constantinople, or the end of the Byzantine Empire. This is the division that we're seeing, and also we'll see the main authors in medicine who contributed with their knowledge to, well, to medicine, but specifically to dentistry. So, the early Middle Ages, the Byzantine Empire. Well, during this period in the Byzantine Empire, the language that was used was the Byzantine Greek. The main religion was Christianity, and they had, as many places, most of the places in Europe, a feudal system, political system. It was an agricultural and artisanal, but above all, agricultural society. They were organized in large cities. There was also there were rural communities, but it's relevant the existence of these large cities. And there were huge differences between the poor and the wealthy. So their society was really unequal. Only few people could access to education. Most of the inhabitants were peasants or non-educated. During this period, and specifically medicine, the knowledge was, the focus was in preserving the classical knowledge, all this knowledge that has been cultivated and increased during the classical world, the Greek and the Roman worlds as a result of it. During the Byzantine period, the focus of the objective, the goal was to preserve this knowledge. Okay, so scholars were translating and copying all the books and works that were written before. There weren't many innovations or advancements during this period, and they were teaching in these buildings called stoas, specifically medicine. In these buildings, the medicine trainees were receiving both theoretical and practical training. We'll see how the idea or concept of hospitals originated here during the Byzantine Empire. This and then later became permanent buildings to assist different populations or communities in cities and the rural areas. But they began as organizations, we could say, or institutions that tried to give assistance to the most disadvantaged and more rural areas that didn't have many resources, in contrast with the communities that lived in large cities. So, during this period, we find different authors that made contributions to the field of medicine. We are seeing still during this period that dentistry is inside the knowledge of medicine, so there is no separation between medicine and dentistry. And because of that, as before, the medical works, the medical treatises are the books that contain the few knowledge that the scholars had in dentistry by the time. So first of all, we have Olivasius, who wrote a compendium of books called Medical Collections. And it was mainly a synopsis of a working anatomy. He also had a section or some books in this compendium of books. Not all books were dedicated to anatomy. He had other few books dedicated to therapeutics. And then we find Alexander of Troyes with his 11 books on medicine, in which he recommends, and here we find some references to dentistry. He recommends avoiding using the forceps, and because of that, avoiding the dental extraction. He has some recommendations or prescriptions, some remedies to treat the inflammation or swelling of the gums. And when we could say the patient has periodontitis. But the main author, the most relevant author of this period is this author called Ophagina. He wrote this compendium of books, Epidome, and here we find more references to dentistry. He's the first who makes a difference between what is an epulis and a phlegmon. An epulis would be an inflammation of the soft tissues of the mouth without an infection, whereas a phlegmon would be an inflammation of the gums that also has an infection. He gives recommendations for filling cavities, and he says that when a patient, please be quiet, you can speak during the activity, okay? So he recommended filling cavities before extracting any tooth. He also gives recommendations for removing tartar and for patients to carry out their routinary dental hygiene. We'll see how from this author until the late Middle Ages, until the 16th century, all we find in dentistry is not referred to any concept of beauty or preserve the beauty of the smile because of the influence of the Christian Church. Everything that is considered beautiful is not taken into relevance, and obviously because of that, dentistry wasn't. It's not that dentistry is only having a beautiful smile, but having a healthy smile or a healthy teeth imply having a kind of beautiful or attractive dentition. And that concept is forgotten during centuries until later during the 16th century. So this is the last author that really tries to give recommendations to keep the teeth really kind of attractive or beautiful. This is for, and I'm speaking for the part or the region of what we could consider today Europe, because we're going to see that during this period, it was, as I have said multiple times, the Islamic world or Arab world, the culture who preserved all these concepts of dental hygiene, preserving the teeth, and even keeping an attractive smile. Okay? So, we're moving to the Islamic world during the early Middle Ages. During this time, we see that the science or scholars would practice or teach or train their students in these buildings called madrasas that are or were nearby religious temples or buildings, but they were different buildings. And that's relevant because obviously religion had a huge influence in all the scientific teachings, but it was considered something different. And we'll see how, for example, during the Middle Ages in Europe, the Dark Ages, the few places in which science was cultivated were the monasteries. And that shows how the church and the Christian religion had an even higher influence in how the knowledge was taught and cultivated. That was different for the Islamic world. They had different buildings, okay? Well, how the science or trainees or students were taught. It was a collective learning in which the students were learning in groups. They had both theoretical and practical training, and they also had ethical education. There was a kind of regulation of medical practice that was implemented around the year 931. And during the first period of this era, scholars tried they mainly tried to keep and preserve the classical knowledge, the same as during in the Byzantine Empire. They translated the Greek and Roman texts into Arab, and because of that is that these texts were preserved. We have them nowadays because later these texts were translated again to Latin. These are the kind of first hospitals that I was speaking about, the Maristans. They were first conceived as temporary hospitals to give medical assistance to specific areas, above all rural areas, and then later they became permanent. Here, this is a reconstruction of one of the Maristans that was built in the region of Granada, during the Islamic period of the Iberian Peninsula. Here you have a larger description of these buildings, these institutions. They carried her, made available both the medical assistance and also the availability of different pharmaceutical remedies that by the time were plant-based remedies using medicinal plants to these rural areas or disadvantaged remote areas. The first that we know, the first Bimaristan was located in a tent that was put in place by Faida al-Asania during the year 627, and it was conceived to assist soldiers after a battle. The most well-known Bimaristans were located in the areas of Baghdad, Damascus, and the Cairo. And after that, many more Bimaristans were built, and then this same idea was transferred to Europe and finally to the whole world. During the Islamic period, we find we can divide the practice of medicine into periods. The first period in which the medical practice was more empirical, and scholars were translating these classical texts. And then the second period in which scholars began implementing and practicing a medicine that was based on the classical scientific speculative method, the Hippocratic method that Galen recognized, and they followed the same teachings, the same ideas. Remember the Hippocratic steps of giving or prescribing a treatment. First, recommending changes in diet, then prescribing some remedies, and if any of these solutions worked, the medical practitioner would try to carry out some minor surgical interventions. Relevant and authors of this period, these authors, these medical practitioners and scholars were really well known all around the world period, the Islamic world, and also in Europe, where they didn't really have many relevant medical practitioners. So these authors were the most popular by their time. So first we find Rhases, who wrote, and its name in Latin is translated as liver continent, and he wrote this work in which we find references to dentistry. He made descriptions of dental anatomy, the anatomy of teeth, and also he described or tried to describe how the mandibular joint works and the mechanism of mastication. He recommended treating tooth decay by
and that means burning an instrument and trying to cauterize the pulp and make the pulp devitalized. They didn't know that they were devitalizing the pulp, and because of that, the pulp wouldn't transmit any neural or transmission or signal, so that they would end the pain. What they believed, Steve believed, was in this theory of the toothworm theory as the cause of the caries. So they thought that by carrying out a cauterization of the tooth, they would kill these worms, they believed. But they were killing the pulp, or they were devitalizing the pulp. As many or most of the authors, he rejects or recommends avoiding the dental extraction, and if extraction had to be made, he recommends the use of arsenic to lose the teeth. And this is relevant because the arsenic was used during later the 18th century, 19th century, and even the beginning of the 20th century as one of the main substances to treat dental pulp infections. During this era that we'll see in a couple of weeks is when we find dentistry becoming an independent science, but still at the beginning of this era, above all the 19th century, dentists were using the arsenic proposed by the Arabs. Also, the Chinese have used the arsenic as the main substance to devitalize the pulp or loosen the teeth before extracting them. And he has recommendations of some remedies that we know couldn't be very effective. Then, another relevant author, Ali Abbas, whose work translates as the Royal Book, and here he describes a psychosomatic approach, not only clinical approach to medical or dental problems, and again he describes the treatment of cauterization to treat dental pain, cauterizing the pulp, the same as process. And again, he recommends the extraction of a tooth as the last option. Avicenna wrote the work translated as the Canon of Medicine. He was a really popular medical practitioner and scholar during this period. He gave huge relevance to dental hygiene. Again, he still believed in the toothworm theory, and he describes the use of different files to reduce the length or the size of some teeth that are misaligned or are protruded in reference to the other teeth in the mouth, and again the use of arsenic. He describes or has a relevant section dedicated to the description of treating mandibular fractures. And here are different pictures of these books. Okay. Well, specifically in Spain or in the Iberian Peninsula, we know that, we have the influencer, we have different Islamic or Arab caliphates during hundreds of years. This is a map of the evolution of the Islamic world in Spain. And because of that, we have said that the Islamic world was the most advanced culture in science and also in medicine during the Middle Ages. So because of that, we find very popular and well-known authors in medicine that lived in what is today Spain or the Iberian Peninsula. Abul Qasis, this is one of the most influential authors in dentistry that even in the 18th century took as a reference or quoted. So we find authors of the 18th and 19th century that were very popular and developed the basis of what is today dentistry. These authors like John Hunter and others based their knowledge and their theories and their research in what Abul Qasis wrote. He wrote the book translated as the Method of Medicine, a medical surgical encyclopedia. One of the main contributions of his works is that he depicted a huge amount by the time of tools, medical and dental tools that were used and he recommended using. These are different pages of his work. This is the original copy or the original work, and these are pages of later copies. And as you can see, he painted the different instruments used by the time, or he recommended that they should be used, and then how they should be used and their names. So his work was a huge contribution. He gave relevance in his text. We find that he gives recommendations of ergonomy, how a medical practitioner should sit or assist the patient so that he could carry out his job better and he wouldn't harm their back or other concepts of ergonomy that we are following nowadays. In dentistry, in the 30th book, we find these references to dentistry. He recommends the use of cauterization to treat lip fissures, to soften the gums on to treat the softening gums and to lose teeth, and to treat dental pain. So this is similar to the other authors. To treat basically any pain of the oral cavity, they would use cauterization. He made these paintings of different instruments, and he gave recommendations of techniques. Please be quiet. Of techniques to treat or reduce dislocations of the mandible and mandible fractures. Well, you don't have to learn these. These are examples of texts found in Abul Qasis recommendations for following proper dental hygiene and for removing the dental tartar. Okay, the same here, more cases, just in case you want to really read what he recommended. Abençoar. Well, Abençoar wrote different works with references in dentistry. He wrote a book with recommendations for the general public. He also wrote a book with recommendations on nutrition and what was the best diet to follow so that patients could prevent the development of dental decay. And this last is his most important work for scientific medical knowledge or dental knowledge, in which he describes different dental diseases. And finally, Averroes, who lived in what is today Córdoba, or was born. And his main contribution, translated as generalities, or his main work, divides teeth in different kinds. This is a classification that the Greeks and the Romans had already done, but because Averroes translated and learned this classic knowledge, he kept on following this division, and that's how this division and this classification of teeth arrived or got to us. Well, late Middle Ages. During the late Middle Ages, we find in Spain, after the end of the Islamic world in Spain, we find these three authors who wrote books, medical books with references to dentistry, but they weren't very popular, they weren't as well known as the Arabs. So it's good that you know their names, but they weren't so influential. What was relevant during the late Middle Ages in Spain was the beginning of some groups of, we could say, medical practitioners that were more focused on practicing dentistry. So this would be the precedent of what we understand nowadays as the dental profession in Spain. We find in this group the Caxales, who practiced in the Royal House of Aragon, which is today Aragon and Catalonia. And these medical practitioners who were focused on practicing dental interventions were trained, focused on this area of medicine, and they carried out these three interventions. Dental hygiene, or preserving dental hygiene, dental extractions, and also the treatment of dental pain. This is very similar to any other dental intervention during this time. These were the basic treatments during the Middle Ages in dentistry, but the difference is that these practitioners, the Caxales, were kind of specialized in these dental treatments. whereas in for other medical practitioners, they were like general physicians, we could say, and they practiced many other interventions apart from dental interventions. And finally, we go back to Europe, to the West, or Western Europe, to learn how became to be the situation in the medical practice. We have seen that it was first the Byzantine Empire and then the Islamic world during the early Middle Ages, where the knowledge in medicine and dentistry was mostly cultivated. We haven't seen anything about Western Europe apart from the Iberian Peninsula on medicine or dentistry, because during the early Middle Ages in Western Europe we had what we call the dark ages, in which only the monasteries were cultivating any scientific knowledge. It was almost forbidden practicing any scientific experiment or learning about science. And in the monasteries, what the monks did was mainly translating classic books from the Greeks and the Romans. So it is during the Middle Ages, the late Middle Ages, when we begin seeing a new cultivation of the knowledge in sciences. The education went or spread from the monasteries to what it was called the cathedral schools. These cathedral schools, remember the madrasas of the Arab world, in which that were buildings in which the different knowledge was, or education was taught, and they were nearby to mosques. Well, these cathedral schools were based on that concept, so they were buildings nearby cathedrals or churches in which monks or religious individuals were educating their students. And then later, around the 12th century, we find the first universities. These cathedral schools became independent from the church and became, or is when we find the foundation, the origin of these first universities that popped up in specific places in Europe, and like in Spain, for example, we find the University of Salamanca, founded during the 13th or 14th century, and the first universities during the 12th century, founded in Germany, in France, in what is today the Netherlands. So few places around Europe began having these institutions that were spread then later to many other cities and places, as we know until nowadays that we can find universities anywhere. So during this late Middle Ages, in which we find the resurgence of the cultivation of science, we see how the practice of medicine was slowly changing from being empirical to being more scientific, or following the method of scientific speculative medicine. Okay, the same, the Hippocratic and Galenic method, the method that the Arab authors were in the last part cultivating and recommending, we see how this method, this scientific speculative method, began to be cultivated and followed in Europe during these late Middle Ages. Well, some relevant authors of this period are Bernard de Gordon, who wrote the work Lilium Medicinae, and he has references to dentistry. He tried to explain why the dental pain originated. He still believed in the Hippocratic theory of the humoral theory, this imbalance of humors, but he tried to find gases in the environment or external agents that would trigger this imbalance of humors. So this is one of the first authors that tries to explain the dental caries with different theories apart from just the imbalance of these humors. Well, he rejects the indiscriminate prescription of opiates. It seems that opiates were hugely prescribed during this time to control the dental pain. And again, as in many other authors, he recommends loosening teeth before carrying out the extraction, what is we do nowadays. Before extracting any tooth, we loosen them so that we can remove them without the roots being broken. Then Guy de Chauliac, he wrote Chirurgia Magna. He was very influential for later authors during the scientific revolution and the 17th century. He described the process of dental eruption, and he has descriptions of the anatomy of teeth. He classified the dental pathologies in different groups, depending on if they were related to dental pain, or they implied dental corrosion or decay, or they implied teeth being loose. And also he classified different kinds of dental treatment in relationship with these different kinds of dental diseases or pathologies. Well, he gave recommendations for following the routinary dental hygiene. Some of his recommendations were incorrect or wrong, but other recommendations, like for example, avoiding sticky foods such as figs and honey, made really sense because this kind of foods are or have a high content in sugars. So he shows that he had a good sense of observation. He knew that sticky foods would be triggering caries, and indeed sticky foods are trigger easily caries because of their content of sugars. Well, in this book, he said that only trained medical practitioners, that is barbers or surgeons, should carry out extractions, and they should carry it out under the supervision of a physician. He described specific instruments to carry out these instructions. And he recommended the use of opioids to control the dental pain during these interventions. Well, and finally, the disciples of Chaliak. So Chaliak was the most well-known medical practitioner during these late Middle Ages, and most of the later popular medical practitioners were his disciples. Piero di Argelata, Giovanni Arcolani, and Giovanni Lavigo. But you only have to know their names because the most relevant author is Chaliak. Okay? So that's all for today and for this period. Now you have to do the activity. Shh, please, guys. So the activity, you have to watch the movie. So you have in the section of tasks or activities in your canvas, you have the description and the instructions of the activity. Basically, you have to answer 3 different questions in groups. You have to work in groups, and these questions relate to the content of this lesson and also the lesson of the last week and the the classifications of medicines. These 3 lessons with the movie. You have to make relationships of different scenes of the movie with what we have seen in these different lectures. You have the questions in the activity, and if you have any questions, please ask me. And you have to work in groups. So make the groups, or then if not, I'll distribute you like you will work together. You will work together. Okay. So you have to answer. No, here in tasks or tareas. Okay, you don't have it? Okay. I post it, you say you don't have it? Refresh it and see if you can see the activities.
Yeah.
Okay, it's there. So, okay, please guys, organize the groups or work with the students that are nearby you. Okay? I believe now you can see the 3 questions, okay? And remember, writing all names of members of your group in the document that you upload. Okay, work together. Okay?
I don't really know what to do. I think one person has to write the answer to the question and second person has to say.
Where did you get a document?
It's in have you refreshed it?
Yeah.
Do we have to do it on one or like several have to do it?
No, you can do it one of you,
Okay, and then
but
just send
write all names, because if not, I don't know. Okay? And you guys... Okay, so turn around and you also how to make the work. Okay, well, then this is your students
film.
arrived late,
Not the
so
actual
I
definition.
need to know if any of you arrived late.
Fly.
Okay. Anyone else?
Zach, Puchakayala.
Last name?
Puchakayala.
Okay, I'm gonna get from the movie.
Yeah, I know an example from
Okay, and then I'll find if there's anything in the PowerPoint.
Who's going to write down?
I can write it.
Anyone else?
Sean.
Okay, thank you guys. Here, anyone?
Alright. Wait, what is it called? Not
Magical religious medicine study.
Because the film has 347 minutes. 300
I don't know if this is helpful at
Yeah, because I would like, do you know the scene where like the priest comes to the mother? He's like, he salvages her. He's like, okay, so I only need the definition.
The definition of what? Magical religion?
Yeah,
Do we find it on the PowerPoint?
You don't need to write it.
I think so.
I'll start looking for the third one.
Yeah. I'll just write something like the disease.
Oh, she said that she said the video. No, Alice had the video of you going out to smoke, so I then said, oh, maybe you shot.
Yeah, I said that.
You told me, she told me, but I didn't know.
I'm looking if there's anything more.
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. I just wrote as a definition the disease and death is caused by supernatural force. God, for example.
Yeah.
You know, like only God can cure it too.
Yeah, the rest is like random stuff.
Empirical.
No way.
I think we have enough of that. We need more.
We have like, I think we need more. Can you maybe find like the definition of empirical?
It's not on the PowerPoint.
Empirical. Let's search it out.
Yeah.
For empirical. For I put empirical medicine definition. It says treatment given based on experience without precise knowledge of the cause or nature of its solution. Or I can get medical.
I was cramping everywhere.
Based on experience and observation rather than systematic logic.
My legs started cramping. Bro, I don't know, I was cramping everywhere. My shoulders were like dying. My biceps were in pain. My body was yesterday.
Rather than the scientific what?
Rather than wait, the first one or the second one?
Empirical.
Based on experience and observation rather than on systematic logic. Which could also be like scientific evidence.
I sent a video, I sent that video that when I told you, and then you guys can do this. I showed one of my boys, and he was fucking, he was so like, how was that video? He gone back to where he was, and he was like, feel and gone to sleep. And then he fell asleep, like, also, I'll be real, I was with my cousin was asking for some photos, he was catching up with me. I sent him a photo of me and you know that one of us thought was years ago.
Do you know an example from the movie? Empirical. Because like, I know there's the barber who cut someone's toes off, for example. Do you...
No, I don't remember. That's like 300 scenes. Just try it. The barber one.
I don't know.
I've got scientific spectrum.
I used to see the shit.
Yeah.
The definition.
Before I came out.
Ability of human mind to intuit the essence of things by simple observation of particular phenomena.
I've got a decent answer for 3. Well,
And then,
ChatGPT got a decent answer for 3. Do you see my answer? My answer.
Same! I was looking at photos the other day and I was like,
That's why right at the start I was
you were like Edgar.
yes.
That was, I don't remember it being short. I always remember it being like this length. I don't think I wouldn't mind it longer than it is, but I like it. Like, I prefer this eventually. Yeah, definitely.
Edgar.
never remember it being that short.
Yeah, that's great.
That was the first time.
It's the first time imagine remember. I know it's shocked the fucking game. She's the first time right now in the century.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, word. Anna rolled a suit that she rolled 2 suits and she lost one.
Oh yeah.
The first night we rolled up.
Has she gone? What are you making? That's ages ago you made that. I need to deep clean my room, change my bed sheet.
I need to wash my bed.
I shaved last night. I felt like I had them clean for my last week. I just waited till the end of the week until you would get my bed on the Friday.
Yeah.
I just charged it till the end of the week.
Your bed what?
So I knew you would get into my bed on the Friday.
You say that as if you're going to say, come on everyone, let's go.
I have a TV.
I know.
But I don't invite people to start munching food all over my bed. I invite people to come sit
Yeah,
on
but
my
I
bed.
do
And
ask.
then you
You
get
always
high.
let me.
Yeah, but then you get high and you go, I'm really hungry, I'm making a mad noise. Yeah, and I can't say yes to you, no to you, and you eat. So then everyone just starts grubbing, you know what I mean? And I just start sleeping in crumbs.
Some exfoliation.
Yeah, but if you don't like it, like, you wake up in the morning, there's a little bit of muck on the side now.
Yeah.
No, I ain't like
If you
that.
ever
It's
can't get out of bed,
it's
you
like,
can
it's
just
like I'll roll over in the middle of the night and I'll feel something rubbing against my chest. I'm like, oh, what is that? It's just like crispy chicken. I'm like, oh.
Pardon? Yeah. Right, okay.
Don't do it word for word.
No. No word for word shit. So, he describes himself as a Jew.
Is that true?
Is that true? Yeah.
Yeah.
He describes himself as a Jew.
Yeah.
He studied medicine in the city of Baghdad. Yeah, we can't know what it's like in Baghdad, like all the kids. Because it says,
Well, it's in a Muslim world where like Jews are allowed, but Christians are not.
yeah, there you go.
What is the place called?
Pardon? Baghdad. No, it's Baghdad. It's a place.
Baghdad.
Happy Baghdad. Respect. Because he wanted to learn from a renowned physician. Renowned physician called Avicenna. Avicenne.
Alright.
And then he had to use the training because of his religion.
What are we doing with them timelines? Yeah.
So you have to, for this lesson,
I did it last week, like I did my timeline, but it's like, what are we doing with it? Like, do I send it to you?
you have to send it. I correct it at the end of the semester. I make
Where this week?
No, well, it depends if she says it. It might be like in like 3 weeks' time once she's done with it. What are you staring at? Just stare.
What the hell is that?
The lowest energy down I've ever seen.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, you excuse me, you're meant to be old.
Between his hometown and Baghdad, where we were from Baghdad, the access to knowledge is different. The city offers libraries and scholarly discourse. So you can actually learn new. What I mean hometown backed resources and limited knowledge. And then also its hometown and mostly magical beliefs as medical achievements rather than actual science and understanding of real medicine.
Anna, how are you going to make like that? A and like, what's the other letters?
A, T, and S.
How are we going to do that?
I'll do it outside. Outside.
Will it leave a stain on my top? How are you going to stick it?
Safety pins.
Okay. Yeah, but I don't want to. No, safety pins don't poke you. Okay.
Not safety.
They've got like a. It's like the needle.
It's like a diaper pin.
Oh yeah, but is that not going to be rubbing against your stomach?
Yeah.
Can you like get a grip?
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Well, that's a fair question.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe. Will you be okay?
Yeah.
If you want, we can get you some soda cream and you can get around.
Why don't you stick tape over the inside so that it doesn't rub anymore? You know what I mean?
Tape doesn't stick to fabric. Have you ever tried to tape something on fabric?
How big are the safety pins going to be? Because I don't want no holes in my top.
Oh my god, it's a pin. It's a pin. Do you know how small the pin is?
Yeah, blue tape.
Are you being serious?
That's going to fall on. That's going to fall on.
Obviously.
What do you super glue it?
You know what? I'm gonna sew it to your top. So you can't get
That's only for my top. I would burn your wardrobe.
Good luck with that.
I need to get like a cheap £5.
I could walk in the middle of the night while just set fire to it.
How about like when I'm bored?
Alright, we just need an answer to the second question.
Pardon, sorry?
Like, we just need an answer to the second question.
Second?
The
Okay.
names.
Oh, right, okay.
PowerPoint.
So that's Anna's job. Yeah, what?
What?
Joking, I'm joking.
Why are you teaming up on me?
What do you mean?
I'm gonna make you a really bad letter.
Why? Sorry.
Piss you off.
That's okay, yeah.
I'm untouchable, can't do anything to me.
Okay, well your room's vacant.
Bacon.
I'll do a prank. I'll wrap everything in your room.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be kind of hard
If
though.
you've got back imagine and it's just like Fiona's face in every single, like, the whole room.
That's his dream. That's what he sleeps to every night.
Yeah, well, I just start rubbing myself all over the place. Oh my god.
That's a weird one.
Or just jump straight to the ball.
Is that not answering question 2? Are you doing question 2?
I did other stuff.
What did you do?
The definitions.
That's what they did.
You got it. You got it.
Do you know the answer to question 2?
Have you not searched it up? Okay, let me try.
Alan, did you get any eggs?
Huh?
When you went to the shop, did you buy any eggs?
Okay. Can we do the second question?
The second one.
The second big question.
Yeah.
Okay. So in Rob's hometown, medicine was heavily influenced by superstition, whereas in the city there was a more advanced understanding of anatomy, hygiene, and herbal remedies.
Yeah, well, she kept them off. It's the worst monster we've ever done.
It's so hard.
Can I see the text?
I'll try to reword it. Maybe.
The development might question saying no.
No.
What do you mean no?
It's not that good at all.
Are you joking?
No.
Dude, come straight in off the ears first. Right, sorry. You're telling me this keys are attractive.
He looks nice now, but on a day-to-day basis.
No, I don't like it. I see him now, he's got like tattoos here. I don't like that. But no, I'm done.
They're judgmental.
But this, yeah, when he was like younger and trigger warning, trigger warning.
Okay, we just need names now.
Names.
From the PowerPoint we just saw,
Right.
like which ones fit most in the category of his hometown.
Right.
Dental anatomy.
So Auricbaceus. Wait, what are they meant to match? His city
Like
or?
the setting of his hometown and
Okay, Ori Basius is the city not of his hometown.
yeah,
So the more like medical.
Ori. How the fuck do you write that? Anyway, the road.
No.
And then this guy is the guy's hometown.
Yeah, Ibn Sina. With Avicenna. Like it's the tooth-worm theory. It's like
when they think.
Yeah, by the gods.
So surely that's like
Belief.
yeah,
That's like
the guy's town.
religion. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like most of these people are like the new one.
Yeah, true.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Like this guy. Yeah. Definitely the new one.
And I was also thinking of Razies, something like anatomy.
Yeah. Basically anything that's like just not just based off belief.
Yeah, I think so too.
The other one, even if it's like still a bit stupid. Because I slept with it in my bed. Why do I head move so much?
You're wobbling it.
Yeah, but really moved. Like I felt like I could just like go like down, your hair and go back kind of to your neck.
I can move like this. Yeah, but like if you move your whole head.
You're not moving your ears at all, you're moving your forehead. Your ears dance.
Yeah, no, I'm not flicking it on my head. Can you do that? Yeah, it's not your eyebrows, mate.
What's he trying to do? He's trying to do this. Yeah.
He's not moving. Oh, you're moving it now. Wow. Look at you go. Really, that was helpful if ever go down at all. But
You know what? You're being serious. Why is it always this day? I never see it.
we need any more people for this specific one.
No, I don't think so.
In my bag.
How do you drop that?
Where did you drop? Where did you drop? Where did it go?
In my bag.
And this is college. This is college.
Do you guys want to read it, or do I just upload?
No,
I
that's
trust you, I trust you, I trust you. Normally gets lazy. Then it's just subject. Someone woke up for a time in bed.
Are you joking me? I thought anyone else was working on the right side of the bed.
Yeah, the first thing you said to me this morning, I made a joke. You think today, die for day, jokes like this.
And then I had a little.
You're bipolar as well. That's fair.
I actually haven't read that.
Cool, I said she's bipolar as well. She said that's fair.
But it's better to be.
Happy all the time than happy all the time.
I'm happy more than all the time. I'm never depressed.
I'm talking about right now, not in general.
Yeah.
Right now, we're not happy, and you're happy like 50% and 50%. Only in bed. Only in bed.
Yeah, but you're up now. Mine are like motivated.
Fuck that.
Big up.
Big up.
What would you do? What would you do? If I just put my hand on you like that, then I just pull it off.
Well, you started to Spider-Man.
I'll be real, I'll be like, can you give me like an injection of blood?
I'll be real, I just knew that it was her.
I know,
She's the least deserving out of the three of us that we Spider-Man.
Deserving, no. interested. Like,
Do you need anything else for any of the questions?
Great power, great responsibility. You start smoking your webs. You start using your webs to roll things.
I thought you have a very good perception.
Up to you.
I live with you.
No, no,
I don't think so.
you could just submit it.
Yeah? I think we're not gonna change much.
Yeah, Spider-Man like sassy in his house, but he's got his mask on like this on the phone. I've got ice cream at home, you know what I mean? Good one, Sean. It looks fucking radioactive. Yeah, you're looking at that.
How do I upload this? It's just start task.
Yeah.
Upload file.
It's like a type of tea.
This song is making me laugh so much.
Thanks on end of your benches.
Really helpful to me, man. Who wants to go get curry?
UK digestive is so delicious. No, they're not rank, they're just big. They're too crunchy and not bitter.
Yeah, I had like desserts and they were like kind of like, it was just crazy.
Yeah, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Shit in that drink. Ingredients. That is like
Even that one's not sugar free. Even that one's
It's not sugar free.
your lactose broke it up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're gonna get our grades for that.
Yeah.
little ones.
I'm not saying it's bad that you're drinking it. I know. I'm drinking it myself. Fuck it up. Oh wait, have we written our names on it?
No. We'll do it right now.
Yes. Why is the guy just never excused? Like, every time I look at which one?
ZACH.
H. Wait,
Sorry, ZACH.
H like that, and
Did you put mine as well?
oh my god, sorry. Is that right?
Yeah.
I have kids now.
That's why you're right. That's why this is made, because I'm dodgy noise. Oh yeah, that. I got that. What is that?
That's me.
Good video.
Yeah.
You're gonna be blue. You can't. None of them. That's how it starts.
Oh, I was thinking about Adam's. My shoes keep coming off. I would like only more bobbies in the
Let me ask again.
Oh fuck! That shit hurt.
What are you trying to do? Do you think I'm anywhere near? I didn't understand what you were trying to do. Break or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I just feel me, my man.
Oh, it's my cousin. My cousin. They were always like that, so that we
Oh, wait, it's so slow. Wow, that's a day ahead. I don't think I've any time to run. Yeah, but how is it?
Oh, today. Yeah, that's true. We don't need to know this enough. What are you going to do with Italian? Are you going to go to Paris? Airport?
Well, if I take her up, I'd have a car. What's the point I'd go with?
She has enough to fucking do. Put in the address on it. I was a fair bitch. I want like a good score. No, I want a good friend. I don't do twice a week.
I want mine.
Oh, we didn't do it.
At what point does it become a thing? Then you'll be there again.
It's only 4 days, 4 days. I reckon if I grow out in like 2 weeks,
Okay.
I'll go back to the show. I'm just saving so I show you.
What did she say?
No, she got it. Yeah.
Here we go. Oh, cool. Wait, miss me.